What up? What up? What up? What up?
Hey, we're back.
We are back.
Yeah.
How was Jurassic Park, my man?
Good movie.
Right?
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, very action-packed. Things just kept happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty dope. I never noticed this in movies usually, but like in this one I noticed the score for the movie was incredible.
Yeah. I mean, that's why it's famous.
Yeah. It was just
It's. I mean, yeah.
Just the background music throughout the whole thing was
Keeps you on the edge of your seat.
yeah, just constantly like what the fuck's about to happen and the epicness of the shots. The ba-da-da. You nailed that, by the way. When it gets loud. Ba-da-da. Yeah,
it is
nailed that.
Yeah, man.
It was the special effects were amazing. Like for 93 too. Like being
The first shot is
Oh
great.
my God.
The first one, you're like, whoa. Yeah.
being in theaters,
I can't imagine.
In 93?
I can't fucking imagine, bro.
that must have blown your goddamn mind.
It's pretty crazy. God, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it really is. It's fun.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
get why they remade it and just called it Jurassic World. Because it's like, yo, this is good. We don't have to do anything. Let's not change the thing. It's
Yeah,
great.
the only thing they changed is like what's happened if Jurassic Park happened while the park was open.
That's all they did. They
That's
said,
all
all
they
right,
did.
let's put people there this time so we
Yeah.
can see people die.
Yeah, so we can see more people just get fucking murdered. And let's do something even crazier and create a dinosaur that could like camouflage.
Camouflage and
Yeah,
like and
Super Saiyan T-Rex.
Super Saiyan T-Rex. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
I love that. God, this T-Rex saves the day. How did it feel watching the whole thing finally? Did you feel like you've seen it already when you watched
No.
it all? No?
No.
Right?
No, it didn't. Because it's like, I think I know what happens. And I've seen scenes here and there.
And then I told it to you.
Yeah. And then you told me literally everything that happens. And I was like, oh, this still feels new.
Yeah, it's fresh. It has
Yeah,
that
it's
feeling.
fresh.
It has that Ferris Bueller's Day Off kind of thing. where
Yeah,
this is the original screen. Original,
It's very original.
man.
Also, it's just, good God, Newman. You had to shut down everything? You couldn't just shut down the gates you needed?
I mean, he was an idiot. They set up that this
Yeah.
guy is a fucking idiot.
Because now, let's say you get the embryos on the ship, right?
Yeah.
You have to come back and deal with everyone after you shut down everything.
They're
And
gonna
on-
question you.
Yeah, and on top of that, you have to deal with all the dinosaurs you just released.
Yeah, how are you gonna get back?
Yeah, right? How are you not thinking, oh, I shut down all the security measures? Yeah, the T-Rex is just gonna stay put.
I'm scared of the goddamn Triceratopses. I'm scared of
Yeah,
all of it, man. I'm
right?
like, yo, what the fuck?
Right?
They're on the loose.
Yeah. God, when they get out of the car to check the dying Triceratops, it's like, there's a T-Rex around here. What are you doing?
Yeah, God, there is a T-Rex.
Right?
It's like a hunter. They hunt. That's what it
Right.
does. So it's quiet.
Why would you even create that without like multiple like controls to keep him safe?
Yeah.
Like you made it able to like you ever been to a zoo and you see the tiger pen, how the walls are so huge?
Yeah, and then there's that huge moat.
Yeah. Why the fuck wouldn't you do that?
They said that they did, but it wasn't like.
Well, they clearly didn't because the T-Rex was able to walk onto the thing right next to the...
Yeah, I know it like broke through the wire so
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
Without the electricity, it's like, yo, the wire should still be tougher than that.
Yeah, you have no contingency plan? None whatsoever. It's just like, yeah, one power outage and everybody is fucked.
Also, yeah, one.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, one storm could have caused that, man.
Yeah,
or
you
just somebody like, fucking bumping into the off switch.
Yeah, right.
Apparently. And then shuts down the whole thing.
Yeah. Oh, God. It's just a bad idea to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, a bad idea to begin with.
Just a bad idea to begin with. Just to play God like that.
You bring him, why you need to bring him back? Don't bring him back.
Yeah.
Just don't bring him back.
Or if you insist on him, you got to zoo him up.
Yeah, you got to zoom. Well, I mean, you can't zoom. That was what that was. That was a zoo. That was a zoo.
Oh, you got to more enclosure. You got to like actually like do what they do with the tigers. You got to put them in these pits that are awful and clearly a terrible place to live.
So jail.
Yes.
So if we're gonna
If you're gonna bring back dinosaurs, you gotta put them in jail.
put them in prison
or they're gonna fuck you.
and put them in an island and nobody gets to see them. So
Yes.
there was no point in making them. But we have them back.
Well, no, you can. If they're in that pit thing, people will come and see that. People go to zoos all the time.
And people the tigers break out sometimes. That happens. That happens.
When was the last time a tiger broke out? People-
in the 2000s.
People jump in. Tigers don't break out.
in the 2000s, bro, a tiger jumped out the motherfucking cage and killed a fucking kid.
When? Where?
This was.
I'm gonna look this up.
Look this up.
I don't.
You know how I know?
How?
It was in Joe Rogan's special, so that's how I know.
Oh, see, I thought that was a story because I remember in the San Francisco Zoo, some kids like tried to scale the wall, and the tiger used their body to get out.
I'm talking about the one where the tiger jumps over the thing and then like fucking chases a kid down.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Yeah. I mean, we shouldn't be doing that to tigers anyway. But I'm saying if you're gonna make dinosaurs,
yeah,
you gotta treat them like that.
God, I can't. Well, don't make the dinosaur. I'm on that. I'm still on. Why are we doing this?
Also, yeah, just don't put other animals' DNA in them. You don't know what the fuck that's gonna happen.
It's such a bold thing to do too. To just be like, oh man, all right, so okay, we have enough to make a T-Rex. Well, let's put a little tiger in it. Like, you know what I mean? Let's put a little fucking. Let's mix it up. Like, get the fuck. You fucking crazy?
Yeah. Why would you put a frog in it? What if the T-Rex can now jump really well?
Also, you didn't look up what kind of frogs you put in there?
Yeah, for real.
You're not gonna look up what West African frogs are?
Yeah, you just like, yeah, here's a frog.
That's basically what they said. Yeah. It's like scientists are like, oh, a frog.
Yeah.
She said.
You're also in Costa Rica, so you went to West Africa to get a frog.
You didn't even use a Costa Rican frog.
No.
You went to West Africa to get this specific frog that is definitely the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And that sounds like a pretty simple search.
Right?
Kind of thing like, hey, what do West African frogs do? Oh, when they're in when there's one sex of them, they change. That's pretty interesting.
Also, I'm pretty sure that island has frogs.
Yeah. That's also a pretty interesting thing for a frog to do.
A lot of animals can do that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's interesting that they didn't look that shit up before they did it. All these fucking smart scientists, fucking Asian guy, he was so cocky. He was so cocky.
I know. Well, he solved so many little kid rapes.
Well,
bro.
That's why he had to move on
at that point.
That's why he had to. It's so interesting that he was a detective because he couldn't figure that shit out. Was he a detective or was he a lawyer?
No, he was the doctor. He was like the psychiatrist. He was the guy who would go in and be like, "Fine, tell me, Timmy.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me who touched you." He was that guy.
Yeah. But he got that from imprinting dinosaurs.
He got that job, and then he went back.
Yeah.
He went back to when they reopened.
Is he in the other ones?
He's in the world. He's in Jurassic World. He's the doctor. He's the same.
Shit.
They play the same. He plays the same guy. He plays literally the same character, bro.
Really? Hollywood has that little imagination where they couldn't go, let's get another Asian guy?
No, I think they're trying to go like, oh, this the storyline continued. That's what it was. Also, the movie is a storyline continuation.
The storyline continues, so that guy learned nothing.
No. Of course not. Of course he didn't. Did you watch Jurassic World? He's the whole problem.
Yeah.
It's literally the same movie, and instead of a white guy, they got like a brown dude.
Yeah.
It's literally this, bro. It's crazy how much it's the same movie.
Yeah. You know what you missed?
What I miss?
You missed telling me that fucking Samuel L. Jackson died. Just all together.
Sam Jam died.
You know what? I should have been like, wait, why is he on the plane at the end of the movie? I should have asked that. But I'm giving myself a pass because I haven't seen the movie. How the fuck did you not go, wait, why isn't Samuel L. Jackson here?
I forgot about Sam Jackson. They just kind of don't mention him.
No, you don't see him die. And like his scene where he goes off to die is very small and you can miss it if you're not paying attention.
That's crazy.
Because he goes off to flip the switches on.
Flip the switches.
Yeah, and then the next scene you see Laura Dern going, something's wrong.
And then you see
the arm just, pop on her.
That's fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I completely forgot that.
Yeah,
that's
Samuel L. Jackson died. Also, when you were
everyone dies.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, except the people who were also able to get off the island.
It's like 5,
and then all the workers were able to get off before everything shut down.
Oh, all the workers were able to get off the ships and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's just an island of dinosaurs roaming?
Yes.
Free?
Yes.
Well, no, didn't they cut all the fences back on?
I mean, but they're already out. The T-Rex was just out.
Yeah, but now they're like roaming wherever they're at. They're just stuck wherever they are.
The Isla Nublar. That's where they are.
That's some wild shit.
Well, they can't get off. Oh, there's a couple things I wanted to bring up. Also, when I said, it was great that when Sam Jackson was living, how it was great that the black dude didn't die first. The first dude, the security guard that died, he was black, so I take that back.
He was black. He died in 5 seconds.
Even in something new and original, you got to stick to the black guy dying first. Remember that if you're writing a screenplay. The fucking Grant can't put on a seatbelt for whatever reason.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they make that like a thing.
I forgot about that. Well, I mean, I didn't forget. I saw it and kept going.
And I was like, that's an interesting choice. That's the one thing in this movie is like, did you need that?
Well, they had to let you know he's autistic, I guess.
Is that what they're trying to do?
I don't know.
He doesn't seem very autistic, if I'm being honest.
He's smart.
I mean, I think. Yeah, and then I mean that was pretty much the one thing that I was like, what was this about?
Spielberg.
Because like the whole point of his character was like, oh, it shows to show him like, oh, he's good with kids, or he learns how to be with. That's his arc.
Yeah, that's his arc in the movie.
Yeah, that's his arc in the movie. But I think there was also supposed to be a point where like, oh, he's also bad with technology, but they just sort of were like, whatever, we'll fuck that arc. We don't need that.
So we'll throw in that he can't use seatbelts.
I think that's what happened. I think there's like he can't use seatbelts, and there's gonna be more stuff of him like being like bad with technology. And they just were like, we don't need that.
That's true. Why would we do that?
People are gonna need the seatbelt scene. Only fucking crazy people who take notes while watching the movie will notice that. Only fucking insane people. And the last thing that and they're in the control room and she's hacking.
Yes. The little girl?
Yeah, which is the most craziest hack. It's so funny.
Yeah, when she's moving a box to a box.
Yeah.
They're like, how are you doing this? She's like, hold on.
Yeah.
And she's just moving a folder to another. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
But she's like,
right?
Oh.
So they're holding the door against the raptor,
Yeah.
right? And the gun is far away. They're like, can't reach the gun. See if you can reach the gun. And so they're trying to reach the gun. And they can't. And they're holding the raptor. And so him and Laura Dern are holding the door back. And then the girl is hacking. And the kid is just watching his sister hack. The boy is just watching his sister hack.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, hand them the gun.
No. I'd be curious.
All nervous.
Because I'm in his head, I'm like, she can't. What is she? How is she doing this?
Right. That's fair. He's like 8. I'm saying one of the adults should have been like, hey!
Timmy!
Yeah.
Timmy! Yeah. Definitely an adult show.
Yeah.
Fucking let's go!
Yeah, for real. Oh, man. But great movie. Jurassic
Good movie.
Park.
Spielberg, good job. Hey, what's up? Yeah, sons of bitches.
I mean, we didn't need to be that mean.
They're beaners, dude.
Yeah,
it's hard. They're beaners, bro. Come on,
they're used to it.
We say nigga every 5 seconds.
Well, we or you?
Actually, we. Guys, what's up? Thanks for coming in this week. And Ehsan,
what?
You excited?
Yeah, what movie? Lay it on me.
EA Sports.
Yes.
Tell me what happens.
Yep.
In The Princess and the Frog.
Oh, wow. I'm excited for this one, actually.
I knew you would be.
This is interesting. Okay. It starts with the main character, the princess, who is black.
So far on track.
Who is black.
So far on track.
And that's important.
It's very race heavy.
Yeah, because it's a big deal that she's black for some reason, or it was back then. Even though if you really cared, you'd be like, oh, whatever. It's just a regular princess. Anyways, she is just a regular ass person. She's like a waitress in New Orleans, I think. I think it takes place in New Orleans. And then, there's a prince from a place, from another country, and he comes to New Orleans, and some voodoo magic turns him into a frog. And then, he does frog stuff at first. He tries to act all princey and regal, but everyone's like, fuck you, you're a frog. And all the other talking animals that are a part of this film.
Of course.
They're
like, fuck you, man.
Yeah, fuck you. I'm an alligator. You're a frog or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, dance numbers, music numbers, obviously. And then he meets the princess and she's like, whoa, you're a talking frog. And then, they go on New Orleans styled adventures.
Okay.
There's probably a Mardi Gras scene. More voodoo stuff. The bad guy is a voodoo magician who's trying to kill the frog to take over his kingdom. And then, adventure. The princess and the frog end up getting closer. She ends up kissing the frog, which breaks him from the voodoo curse.
Then what happens?
And then she.
Do they live happily?
Of course.
Oh,
It's
ever?
Disney.
After?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's The Princess and the Frog.
Wow.
Yeah. And then at some point, all the animals he befriends ends up helping him defeat the voodoo guy.
Look at you.
Yeah. Voodoo guy.
Every week, man. So right and so wrong. And it's beautiful.
How does it start? What's the princess's name?
Tiana.
Oh, okay. I should have known that. There's so much about on Twitter about race and shit that pops up every once in a
You
while.
know what the best thing about this movie is?
Right.
Just like Black Panther, race never comes up.
I would imagine.
That's why it's a good movie.
I'd imagine. All the race talk comes from the people talking about it. Normally the white people talking about it.
You better believe it, brother.
All right.
We start
Yes.
with a song.
Hey. Starting off strong.
So you just kind of like, it zooms in on a house, like a big, beautiful mansion.
Right.
And it's like you hear a black woman like singing like, evening stars shining bright. Like, you know, like, there's magic in the air tonight. Like singing like that, like real slow.
Is this our first Disney musical that we've done?
This is our first, yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah. That means you'll be singing a lot.
So
Yeah.
the camera zooms in through like the window and it's of like two little girls, right? And it's a little white girl, a little black girl. And it's a black woman, the black woman's like singing to him. It's like the mom, black mom. And she's telling a story. And the mom's like, and the princess raised him to her lips. And then the little white girl goes, oh, this is my favorite part, right?
Yeah.
And then the black girl's like sitting there looking. And then she goes, and kiss that little frog on the lips. And then the black girl goes, and then one girl goes, aww. Like that, you know?
Yeah.
And then she goes, and the frog was transformed to a handsome prince, and they were married and lived happily ever after. And then the white girl's like, read it again. And the black girl's like, no, you know, like that.
Yeah.
And she goes, I will never, ever, ever, ever kiss a frog. Tuh. Like that, right?
And so it begins.
Of course.
Yeah.
And the other girl says, I'd kiss 100 frogs if I get to be a princess.
All right.
So, a big white dude comes in, and it's John Goodman.
Oh.
Yeah, it's an animated movie, by the way.
Oh yeah, I know. John Goodman doesn't walk in all of a sudden. Yeah, I'm aware.
I feel like I needed to clarify. You're like, oh shit, John Goodman's in this.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, I mean, yeah. And he's like the big rich like guy in this, right? And
Yeah.
his name's like even Big Daddy, or everybody calls like he's like a big tycoon or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he's like, evening, Eudora. And he talks like in a big southern accent, kind of comes off his tongue like molasses,
Ooh, good word.
That's the Office line.
Okay,
it's not
okay.
from me.
Okay, I was like,
but that's exactly how he talks.
I was impressed that you knew the word molasses for whatever reason. I was like, oh, Deric, look at you with your vocabulary.
So he spoils his daughter clearly, right?
Yeah.
And so the mom and the little black girl, they're leaving it because she's like the cleaning lady. So they leave.
Yeah.
And then he's telling her, he's like, all right, he's like, now Charlotte, I ain't gonna keep spoiling you now, and then she's like, oh, but Daddy, just one more dress. He's all right, you get one more dress, but that's it, nothing else. Now who wants a new puppy? And she's like, I do. And he's like, oh, let's go get new puppies. So, like, he's just like clearly like showing that he spoils the shit out of her, right?
Yeah.
So it shows the little mom and the little black girl and the mom get on like a trolley, and then they go home, and it shows them riding by like all the big, nice, rich houses, right?
Right.
And then it shows like it's a kind of a cool shot too, and then it shows them riding like the poor area of New Orleans. You know what I mean? And then they get to their house, and then you see a black guy, and he goes, gumbo sure smell good, Tiana. And then she goes, I think it's done, Daddy. And then he takes a sip, and he goes, oh, well, sweetheart, this is the best gumbo I ever tasted in my life. And he picks her up, and he hugs her, and he's like, oh, my daughter has a gift, a real gift that needs to be shared. And then he goes outside, and he's like, come on, everybody. Come eat Tiana's gumbo. And everybody's like, oh, Tiana made gumbo. Well, hot damn. You know what I mean? And everybody like comes and is like a big happy scene of everybody like
eating gumbo.
Loving her shit.
Right.
Like, oh, wow, she's a great cook. She's like 5, by the way.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
No, I got that. I'm just accepting it.
Also, the dad is Terrence Howard.
But
not
not real Terrence Howard. I get it. It's animated.
Yeah, it's not the guy from the first Iron Man or Hustle and Flow. It is a animated dad.
All right, cool. Thank you. If you just could keep reminding me after every new character introduction, I would appreciate that.
Well, you don't know. Sometimes you don't know.
Yeah.
So they're smiling, and then he goes, see, Tiana, food brings people from all walks of life together so they can be one and happy. And then he tells her, he's like, and when I open my restaurant, he's like, I'm gonna have the lines around the block, all kinds of people wanting to eat my food. And then she goes, our food. And he laughs. He's like, that's right, baby, our food. It's a cute scene.
Okay. Okay, you didn't play it off like that. You were almost mocking Terrence Howard right there, but whatever.
Then they're all sitting there, and then like they see the evening star, right? Like a big star in the sky.
Yeah.
And then she goes like, Daddy, I'm gonna make a wish. And then I'm gonna make a wish for the restaurant. And then he goes, remember, honey, that's only halfway there. You gotta. It's all about hard work, and making sure you never forget, what's really important.
Ooh.
He's like, that's what it's really about, And he says, promise me, Tiana, promise me, look at me, that you'll never lose sight of what's important. And she's like, I promise, Daddy, And then the parents leave, and then she looks like, when they leave, she looks up at the star, and then she closes her eyes and she like makes a wish, right? Mm-hmm. And then when she opens her eyes, there's a frog next to her.
Yeah.
And she like looks at it, and the frog goes, ribbit, and she goes, ah, right? And she runs away.
Yeah.
So she runs into her bed. And no, she runs like out the door. Like it shows her running out the door.
Right.
And then like you see like time pass, right? Clearly like a lot of time.
Right.
And like now it's daytime.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see, it says like Walt Disney Presents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you see grown-up Tiana coming in from like a long day's work. She's grown. And she comes in and she's like all
like sweaty
and just in waitress clothes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And she's just beat. You know what I'm saying? And then she goes over to the thing and she goes, well, another long day, Tiana, but...
She goes, what thing does she go over to?
Like, she goes over to like a counter. It's like a counter. And she goes, another long day, Tiana, but every tip counts. And then she pushes it back, and inside is like 10 Folgers cups full of tips.
Ooh.
Just tips, right?
Yeah.
And then she throws a little bit more change into the things, And then she looks into her closet, right? And like she looks at a picture of her dad. And then she says, and it says like Tiana's place, like over like a restaurant, a picture of her dad. And then she says, don't worry, Daddy. We'll be there soon, I promise. Right? And then she, like a song starts playing up in the background.
Yeah.
And then she like, she looks beat again. And then she opens up her closet and she says, good night, cows. And she drops her clothes, like it shows her like change clothes. Yeah. And she grabs another thing and she goes, good morning, Dukes. Like another waitress outfit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, goddamn.
And then she leaves for her other job, like takes off running, and then the princess and the frog.
Jesus.
Ooh. Starts off real. Like, and it's like, it sets it up like it's pretty intense. Like not intense, but like, that's what she, like, okay, it's kind of a different storyline. Yeah.
She's not just a regular princess. She's like a blue-collar princess.
Yeah. And then the first song, and it's like a man who's just kind of singing about like New Orleans. In like a southern voice. He's like, where the women are pretty and you hear the music playing. It's like one of those. And it's like she's like on her way to work. It's like one of those kind of songs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's the opening song. You can imagine.
Yeah, it's upbeat.
Very upbeat. You know, it's like, grab somebody and come on down and grab your paintbrush, baby. It's like that.
Grab your paintbrush.
That's pretty much what he's saying. He's saying all the paint the town red.
Okay, that.
New Orleans. Yeah, jazz.
Okay.
He's just thinking about all the different things New Orleans has to offer.
So that song is called Yeah Jazz.
Yeah Jazz.
Okay.
Sure. It's actually, I think it's called Yeah Jazz.
All right. All right. So song number 1 is Yeah Jazz. All right.
Then they show a montage of her just like working her ass off.
Montage.
Like while the song is playing, like, right? Mm-hmm. She's at the job just busting her ass, table to table, doing everything she can. Mm-hmm. Then they pan out a little bit and they show a squirrely voodoo magic guy in the city. And
voodoo guy.
Yeah, and he's doing magic. And it shows him like selling like an elixir to a bald guy. Mm-hmm. And then the bald guy uses it. And he gets hair for a second, and he's all happy. And then he goes and he talks to a girl. And then after he talks to the girl for a second, like he grows hair everywhere, like a werewolf. And then the voodoo guy like laughs.
Yeah.
And then it shows his shadow behind him, and his shadow has a separate personality, and it's also evil.
Oh.
It's like,
that's a good character.
Yeah. But the shadows are very evil in this.
The shadows, multiple shadows.
So during the montage also they show a man get off a boat. Like off a big yacht, and he's carrying like a little guitar, and he's like a kind of a brown guy, and he's a good looking dude.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And he has an assistant, like a fat assistant behind him, who's lugging all his shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, so he's a rich dude.
Yeah, he's lugging all his stuff, and then as he gets to the bottom, like you hear woman swoon, and he's kind of just he's like just dancing, and then he keeps going, and then he sees Tiana She's outside like busting glasses, and he sees her and he tries to hit on her during the montage, but she's like not having it. And then he just kind of goes, and then he keeps going.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So he just keeps on playing. He's singing the song, right? And then it cuts back to Tiana, and Tiana, she's busting it at work, just getting after it. And then it shows her friends sitting at like one table. Yeah. And they go, Tiana, girl, you need to come out dancing with us tonight. You need to come out, stop working all this work and come out and dance. And then she goes, I can't tonight. I got to work a double because that's the only way I'm going to get enough money. And then they all go to Save for Your Restaurant. Oh, we know.
Yeah,
you know?
Wow, what terrible friends. What awful friends. Oh, you have a dream. I got boo-hoo. Yeah.
Go fuck yourself. Yeah. So there's like, and then she, like, the chef overhears her saying that. And he's like, how much money you got saved? And then she's like, oh, I got enough. Don't worry about me. I'm saving enough for my restaurant. He's like, you ain't never, ever, ever gonna have enough money to put a down payment on a restaurant. Like, just hating on her. Just shitting on her. She's like, kind of looks mad and she goes off, right? John Goodman comes in.
Okay. Animated John Goodman.
No, this time the real one.
Oh, the real one lumbers in. Yeah.
He lumbers in. And then she goes, oh, she's, oh, congrats, Big Daddy, on being on winning King of the Mardi Gras Parade again. Yeah. And then he goes, well, thank you, honey. And he goes, it took me completely by surprise for the 5th year in a row. And he has a big, like, laugh.
Yeah.
And then, right then, his daughter busts in, the white girl from earlier.
Yeah.
And she's older, like, and she's still crazy. Like, she's extra high energy. She's just extra as fuck. But she's funny. You know what I mean? But she's just really extra.
Is she anyone I would recognize?
The voice, probably. You've heard it before, but I don't know her name.
Okay.
And then she grabs Tiana, she screams, and she's like, Prince Nadine is coming, Prince Nadine, oh God. And she's like, he's coming to New Orleans. And then she's like, tell her the news, Big Daddy, you gotta tell her the news. And then he goes, well, he's like, and then he goes, right when he's about to say it, and then she cuts him off, she goes, he's coming to a masquerade ball. And then he kind of looks at her, and then she goes, she keeps hitting him, and she's like, tell him the other news, Big Daddy, tell him the other news. And then he looks at her, and then right as he's about to say it, she like goes to cut him off again, and then he shoves bread in her mouth. Like that.
That's funny.
And he goes, and he'll be staying with us for the time being, while he's in here in New Orleans, And then she starts like screaming like, ah! Like, she's just going crazy. She's just like an extra psycho. They just set up that this girl's like nuts.
Just crazy person.
Crazy person.
She wants to kiss a bunch of frogs, I think.
She does. So right then, she's telling him like she's gonna marry this guy. I know this is gonna be the one. And then Tiana tells her, she's like, well, a little word of advice from me. You want the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. And then she's like, oh, that's it. She's like, I know exactly what I'll do. I'll order 500 of your famous baguettes, And then she's like, oh, okay. And then she goes and she grabs all the money out of her dad's pocket, like this huge thing of cash. And then she throws it all at her. And she's like, if you can have this done by tonight, oh my God, thank you so much. And I'll see you at the masquerade ball. And then she leaves, like with her dad, the guy. Yeah. And then she's like, oh, I have enough. I finally have enough to open my restaurant. Like, and she starts like screaming like with joy. And then it cuts to her like at the building that she's trying to buy. Yeah. Like this rundown building. She's talking to these white guys and she's saying how they're saying like, she's like working the deal with them. Yeah. And then she says, well, they're like, all right, well, tomorrow, we'll meet up with you tomorrow to sign the papers. And she says, well, why don't you come to the masquerade ball tonight and we can just have it signed tonight? And then they're like, you know what? You drive a hard bargain, Tiana. And then they drive off, right? They're like, but deal. Right. Okay. So then her mom kind of sneaks up on her from behind. Her mom is Oprah, by the way.
Really?
Real Oprah.
Yeah,
everyone is real.
Everyone is
everyone is not real in this movie.
It switched. Yeah.
This movie, it's kind of like Kill Bill, but the opposite.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So her mom is fucking Oprah?
Yeah, mom's Oprah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Mom sneaks up on her and she's like, "Table for one, please." Mm-hmm. And then she turns. She's like, "Oh, Mama, look, I did it," And she's like, "Well, here's something to get you started." And she like pulls around a pot, like a big pot, and she goes, "Oh, Daddy's gumbo pot." And she's like, "Oh, Daddy would have been so proud of you." And then they open the door to the restaurant, and it's like completely
garbage,
like just garbage.
Yeah,
And then she's like, "Oh, Mama, doesn't it make you want to cry?" And then your mom's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Mom's like, "Yes, it does make me want to cry. Yeah, this place is awful." And then the daughter says, she's like, "I'm gonna have it set up just like how Daddy would have liked." And then she says, the mom's like, "Yeah, but remember, your father also had love." she was like, that's all I want for you, sweetie, is to meet your Prince Charming, to meet a man who like your father was to me. I want you to have something like that in your life. Mm-hmm. And then she sings, and then she starts like singing. She's like, I ain't got time to be messing around. And then the grandma's like, but I want grandchildren, And she's like, I know where I'm going, getting closer every day, and I'm almost there. And this big song kicks in, almost there. Okay. And then it just cuts to like a fancy montage of like, it's all the restaurants all nice, and they're both in like fancy pearls and dresses. And the restaurant's filled, and you know what I mean? And she's, and I'm almost. This is the theme song to the movie, by the way.
Okay.
This is
I'm
the song.
Almost there.
Almost there.
Okay.
I'm almost there.
All right. For a second, this was called No Dicks.
No.
Yeah. That seemed to be the vibe. All right, almost there.
So the song, and then she does the whole song, and it's about how she's almost close to her dream, and how she's been working this hard,
right?
And she's fucking right there,
right?
You know what I mean,
right?
And all she has to do is, she's like, and all I got to do is just buckle down and focus, and I'm almost there, and the song ends, right?
Yeah,
it's a good ass movie, bro. I watched this morning. I was like, yo, the whole time I was like, nigga, this is really good. Like, I am really invested.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, what happens with the voodoo guy? I'm like,
right?
Yeah.
So the next scene, you see the handsome guy from the boat who got up, like, right? Yeah. And he's dancing and playing like the guitar in a circle of people cheering, and they're all like looking like cheering for him. And then you see his assistant come up, and he goes like, "Sir, I've been looking everywhere." It's supposed to be a British accent.
Okay. I was like, oh, wow.
I had to get it right. Hold on. It's funny. He's like, so I've been looking everywhere for you. It's extremely British. It's like so much British that it's like, damn, bro, it's hard to even do it.
Okay. It's like extra.
Like authentic.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the guy playing the guitar, he's like foreign. He's like, well, that's interesting because I have also not been looking for you everywhere, or said something like that.
Is he French?
Like, he's like, French or Spanish? They don't really say.
He's probably French. If he's going to Louisiana.
I'm going to say he's French.
Yeah.
He's got to be French, right?
Yeah.
But it comes off kind of Spanish.
We're making a judgment call, guys.
We're going to go French. Mm-hmm. He goes, and then he goes, oh, come on, dance with me, fat man, right? And he's trying to get him to dance. And he's like, no, sir, we are late. We need to go to the ball, sir. And then he's like, oh, no, I buy everyone a drink. Everyone, I buy you a drink. And everybody cheers, right? Yeah. And he goes, with what? He's like, your parents gave you two choices. Either get married or get a job. That's why we're here. So he's supposed to either find a wife or get a job. That's why he's in America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why you come to Louisiana.
Yeah. And then
it's a wife country.
And he says, okay, but first, let's dance. And he starts dancing with everybody again, and then just ignores him completely, right? Mm-hmm. So right then, that's when the squirrely magic guy, the voodoo guy, comes up. Mm-hmm. And he goes, gentlemen, a tip of the cap from Dr. Facile. And he's like all scary kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and someone you shouldn't be taking drinks and potions from. Yeah,
obviously. And then he gives him a magic card, you know what I mean, to say like who he is and how he sells charms and potions, and they immediately fall for it. They like, the one guy like falls for it and walks with him, and he starts telling himself like all about him, like reading his palm, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, Lawrence. The assistant guy, he's like, this gentleman read my palm, and now he knows me. And then the British guy is like, oh, he read the paper this morning, sir.
Yeah, right? Like you're the prince.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And then he's like, and then the guy goes, don't disrespect me, little man. And his shadow gets all big. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And then he goes, and then he starts singing. And the way he sings, it's like, bro, how do I put this? You've seen like Aladdin and shit, right?
Yes.
Or a Little Mermaid?
Yeah. No, I haven't seen Little Mermaid.
You haven't seen Little Mermaid? You've seen Aladdin?
Yes.
You get Jafar, his vibe?
Yeah.
And like the kind of songs Jafar sang?
Yeah.
Same shit, bro.
All right.
Literally, like to a T. Mm-hmm. The song he sings is like, I got friends on the other side. It's like one of those. Put your mind at ease. Come down at my table, because I got friends on the other side. It's just like completely one of those songs.
All right.
And like, it's like a montage pretty much of like evil shit. You know what I mean? Like shadows and magic and things like that, And he's singing about like cards and taking a trip into your future. And he's singing about like how the guy just wants to be a free bird and he doesn't want to get married. He just wants to have fun and not work or do anything like that. And that's what he's kind of singing about in the song.
Right.
And he's singing about how he can give him that,
Mm-hmm.
And he sings about how he knows his funds are low, right?
Ooh.
He's like, But, he's like, he's like, I know your funds are low. He's like, but I got the idea for you to marry a woman with the dough. Like, and he's saying, he's like, I'm going to hook you up with a rich woman.
Right.
Like, if you come do my plan with me.
Right, but that's, if all he has to do is get married and his parents won't cut him off anymore, it doesn't matter who he marries.
He doesn't want to get married. He's a rambunctious, fly by the seat of his pants, single kind of guy.
Oh, damn. You pulled out rambunctious? Look at you.
I'm not playing around today.
Molasses and rambunctious?
This is the Princess and the Frog. Bro.
Yeah. Do you have
We're doing Schindler's List.
Yeah.
No. Shit.
Do you have a new word of the day calendar? I don't know. I'm pulling out these words I've never heard you say.
So he starts singing to the assistant, and he tells him how he knows he's been a loser his whole life, and how he can give him the life he wants. And he's like, I can make you the prince that you've always wanted to be, and you'll be number one. You know what I mean? The assistant's like, and he's like, come on, boy, shake my hands. And then they both smile, and they shake his hand like this.
Yeah.
And then the guy, he's like, are you ready? Transformation Center. And he starts singing and everything starts spinning. And he's like, you're changing. And then he pierces the prince's finger and the other guy's finger. And then there's a montage of voodoo magic going everywhere.
Right.
And then you see his face creepily and it fades to black. And that's all you see. So you don't really see what happens. Okay. Cut back to the ball. Everyone's dancing, having a good time. Tiana's handing out food to everybody.
Right.
And then a guy is trying to get Charlotte to dance with her.
Charlotte's the white girl?
The white girl. And he's like, come on, Charlotte, how long is later really going to be?
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, Travis, later means never. That's what a woman means when she says later. Never, And she was like, oh, where's my prince? He's never coming. And then she runs off, and then Tiana runs with her to try to calm her down, stop her from crying, because she's just being hysterical. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she runs to her room, and then she goes and she begs on the star for the prince to come. She's begging on the evening star for a prince to come. And then as she's doing that, he shows. You see him outside and he shows. And she screams. She's like, ah! And then she runs and she paints a mole on her face and she does her hair up all crazy. And then she runs up downstairs with this huge gown, ridiculous gown.
Yeah.
And then she just immediately just jumps on him and starts dancing and just being crazy. Right. And you can see he's like, whoa, what the fuck is going on?
Is so much.
Yeah, this is a lot,
Yeah.
So Tiana's watching and she's kind of proud of her because it's her best friend. She's just loving her.
Right.
And then right then the two white guys come up that she's trying to buy the restaurant from.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, I've been looking all over for you guys. I'm ready to sign those papers. And then they go, well, Tiana, there's been a misunderstanding. Well, a man came by today and offered the whole price, cash. So we had to take it. And then she's like, oh, but you can't do that. You can't do that. I had the money. And then she was like, it's probably for the best. I don't think you'd have been able to handle such a business opportunity anyway, or something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah. And then she's just like, what the fuck? Because she just doesn't know what, that was her whole night. You know what I mean? And then right then somebody kind of bumps into her and knocks her all into her baguettes. And now she's just covered in powder and donuts and shit. You know what I mean? And then she's just looks extra beat. And then right then the blonde girl, her friend, sees her and then stops dancing with the prince and goes to helps her up, and then and she's like, oh, look at me, I'm covered in powder. And she's like, oh, don't worry, girl, I got the perfect gown for you. And then she runs her upstairs, right? And then the next scene is her putting her in a beautiful gown.
Right.
You know what I mean? A beautiful, blue.
All right, you're having a lot of trouble with that dress there, buddy. You spent all your brain power on rambunctious. You couldn't.
I know. I lost train. I was like, I can't believe I ran, but I'm lightheaded. And then
it's like a slim dress.
Yeah, she's supposed to wear a dress of a princess. So
okay,
now
she looks like a princess,
a real princess.
It's very Cinderella.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So but she still looks so defeated and sad. Mm-hmm. And then the blonde girl's rambling on about her prince and how oh, my Prince Naveen. And then she's like, oh, but you're beautiful, Tiana. And don't you worry, I promise one day, you're gonna marry your prince too. And then she goes, all right, now, but I gotta go back be with mine. And she's like, Naveen, and then she runs off, right? So Tiana sadly walks out to the balcony, and she's singing Almost There, but sad.
Right.
I was almost there, almost there.
Yeah, that's all the main theme songs from Disney movies can be sung in different tones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then she said this line that got me. She's like, people would have come from everywhere. I was almost there. And then she's kind of looking off in the balcony, right? Mm-hmm. Real sad.
Yeah.
And then she looks up at the star and she's like, oh, I can't believe I'm about to do this. She looks at the evening star and she's like, please, 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 please. And then she opens her eyes back up and then a frog is next to her. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, very funny. Because when she was a kid, right?
Right.
And she goes, so what you want? A kiss now? And then the frog goes, a kiss would be nice. And she goes, ah! She screams, right? And she, like runs. And then she's like, oh my God. And the frog says, hold on. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Prince Naveen of Nadonia. And then right then she hits him with the book. She just smashes him. And he's like stunned, right?
Yeah.
And then she's like, no, you can't be the prince. Because if you're the prince, then who is down there dancing with my friend? And he goes, I don't know. 1 minute, all I know is I'm the prince and I'm having a good time and I'm dancing. And the next, I am a frog.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's probably his valet assistant person that's him.
Look at Ehsan.
Look at me with the basic clues. That was like a Blue's Clues level-esque mystery.
Much.
Yeah.
So he goes, wait, I know this story. My mother would read it to me. No, he said, not my mother. He said, my servants would read it to me every night. It's the princess and the frog, yeah. He says like some weird word, but it's frog, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he goes, oh, I know what I have to do. All I have to do is get a princess to kiss me. So you kiss me.
Wait, he doesn't actually frog, he says something else?
He says frog, but he like adds like a couple like letters to the end of it. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's like, all I got to do is get a kiss from a princess. How about you? You're a princess. You kiss me. And then he like goes to kiss her. And then she goes, no, I'm not kissing no frog. And then she's like, but you asked to kiss me earlier. And she goes, yeah, but I didn't think you were going to say anything. And then he goes, look, I come from a rich family. Mm-hmm. And if you do for me, I'll do for you. And then she's like, oh, fuck. You know what I mean? Like
right.
That sounds pretty good. And then she goes, just one kiss? And he goes, yes, unless you beg for more. He licks his like frog lips.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, God. And then she goes, all right. And then she goes in to kiss him. And then right when she's about to, she panics. She goes, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. And then she turns around. She goes, Tiana, you need that restaurant. And then she turns and she kisses him. And then all the magic starts flying everywhere. And then he cuts back to him and he's looking around.
And nothing happens.
Nothing happens. And she's on the ground now. And she's a frog.
Oh, I didn't see that coming.
I know you didn't.
I don't know what?
Nobody sees that coming. That this is what this movie's about.
Yeah. Okay. So now we've turned the fuck up.
Now that you know where we're at.
Yeah. Real frog, animated frog.
Real frog.
Okay, real frog.
Like the WB frog.
Okay.
That's
Come on, my baby. Come on, my baby.
So she's like, oh, it didn't work. And then he looks at her and he's like, oh no. And then she goes, you don't look much different. She's like, but how did you get way up there? And then she sees her hand and she's like, ah! And she runs around and she's like, oh my God, what did you do to me? I'm slimy. And then he's like, actually, it's not slime. It's a form of mucus. And she's like, shut up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then right as they're arguing, they're standing on like a rocking horse. A book falls and it slings them out the window into the party.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Oh, shit.
And then they land on like the drummer's drum set.
Yeah.
And then he try to kill them. He starts like using his drumsticks.
Yeah.
But by doing that, he just like
creates
starts killing
a dope beat.
Just killing it.
Yeah.
And then the party turns up.
Yeah.
Like the party's like, ah!
Yeah.
It's a really funny shot.
Yeah, that's funny.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everybody starts going crazy. And then right then the Big Daddy sicks the dog on the frogs because he sees them.
Right.
He's like, get him. And then they start chasing the frogs all over the party. And then at the last second, they jump on some balloons. Mm-hmm. And then they cut the balloons off the table and then they fly off. They float away. And then it shows the evil guy and he's watching like evilly. Like, and he's mad. You know?
Yeah.
So the prince, the fake prince or whatever.
Yeah.
He shows him running into the room, right? And then he opens a cabinet and then he sees an empty jar and he goes, oh no. But like he looks like the prince, but he still has the thick British accent, so it sounds really funny.
Yeah.
And then right then the voodoo guy goes, you let him get away? You know? And he's like, oh, how did I get tangled in all this voodoo madness? I can't handle this. You know, he's saying all that shit. And then he takes off the necklace and he changes back to his regular self. And he's like, he throws it. And then as he throws it, the guy, like the voodoo guy scrambles. He's like, ah, you fool. And he scrambles and he runs and he catches it at the last second. Right. And he's like, he's panicking. And he's like, if anything happens to this, I'm going to be. And he's about to like do something to him. And then he's like, and he calms himself. And he goes, let's talk about the real power in this world. It's not magic. It's money, you know? And he's like,
look at him.
He tells him, he's like, all you have to do is marry Big Daddy's daughter. and I'll split all of his money with you. We'll split it evenly, and we'll own this town. You know? And he's like, but we'll be fine. You can do this. All you got to do is make sure the prince's blood stays in the vial, like in the necklace. And then he like evilly kind of laughs, right?
Okay. So if the blood gets out, the thing is done.
Curse breaks.
Okay. That's a different take.
It's Little Mermaid. You haven't seen Little Mermaid. Anyway. So cuts back to the two frogs, and then Tiana goes, voodoo? She's like, you mean I'm a frog because you messed around with a voodoo man?
Yeah, every time I watch a New Orleans movie, because like I've seen a couple voodoo movies, every time it's like, oh man, it never had to happen if you weren't fucking an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And mess with black magic.
They always do, bro.
Why? It either nothing happens or that shit is real and only bad things happen.
There's never middle ground like, it kind of worked out.
Yeah, there's never voodoo where like, oh, this was positive.
Got $20.
Yeah.
like something normal.
Yeah.
So right then, like she's yelling about that, and then he finds out because she's yelling, and then he goes, but you're a waitress. He's like, you lied to me. That's why it didn't work, because you lied. And then she says, no, that's not true. And then he goes, well, I'm broke, just to let you know. She's like, I'm a prince, but my parents cut me off because of blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then she's like, what? You know, so now they're both like just arguing, they're back and forth. And as they're doing that, like birds attack them. So they have to run, and they're scrambling away to get away from the birds. And then they get to the swamp, right? And then they get like in the middle of the swamp, like on what they think is like a log.
Right.
And so they're talking, and they're arguing back and forth still. And then he looks, and he's like, why are those logs moving? And then she's like, oh, those ain't logs. And then you see like alligator heads kind of raise up, and you see a bunch of gators coming at them.
Right.
You know? And then they're like, oh no. And then the log that they're on turns out to be an alligator, obviously. And then it tries to bite them. And then they start jumping and dancing around. And then they dive underwater. And then it shows them get away. And then Tiana gets away. Right?
Right.
And she gets up on this tree, like on this tree stump. Mm-hmm. And then it shows Nadine, he finally gets away.
Yeah.
But he needs like the help to get up, like a vine.
Right.
And then she's like, no. I'll only help you if you promise to kiss the prince. Like, you know, we go back, you kiss the princess to get married, and you change this all back. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
you said all this right.
Right.
And then he's like, fine, I'll do it. And then she lets him up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then as they're up, she's like, he goes, well, you know, well, princess, it looks like we're going to be stuck in this tree all night. We might as well get close. And then you hear her like slap him. And then she's like, get your slimy hands off me. And then he goes, it's not the slime, it's a mucus. So the next morning, like Tiana wakes him up, right? She hits him in the head with like an acorn or something. And it's like bright and early. And then she has already like built a raft and like set up all this extra shit.
Yeah,
like,
she's dope.
She's ready to go. You know what I mean? And then she goes, all right, let's get the day started. And then he's like, all right. And then she hands him like a paddle, right? And then he takes his paddle and then he puts like some strings on it and then like lays down and makes it a guitar and just starts playing, you know? Mm-hmm. And then she goes, okay.
Yeah.
How about a little help?
You gotta do some shit, man.
Right? And he goes, okay, I'll play louder. And he starts playing like really loud. it is funny line.
That's funny. He's funny.
He's really funny. He's quick. He's charming.
Yeah.
You know? And then she gets mad at him and then right as she gets mad at him, she notices another gator's coming at him, and it's too late, and it looks like it's about to eat him. And then right as it's about to chomp down, he goes, hey, I recognize that tune, right? And then he pulls out a trumpet and starts playing with Nadine.
Oh, shit, that's really weird.
And Nadine's like, all right! And then they start jamming together.
Yeah, okay, that's fun.
And then
that's
like,
crazy.
Yeah, right? And then they're both like, Chipper House Blues, baby! You know, and then they start playing like the blues, and they're just loving it, right?
Mm-hmm. Does this gator have a hat?
No, you should.
Yeah.
And, so his name's Louis. He's like, hey, my name Louise. You know, he's got a deep accent.
Okay,
and
he's
he goes,
like Louis Armstrong.
Yeah, and he goes, yeah, exactly. And he goes, he's like, my dream is just to be able to play jazz with the big boys. And he's like, I tried once. And no, because the Nadine goes, well, why don't you? You're amazing. And he goes, well, I tried once. And then it cuts to like this big jazz boat, and everybody's on the jazz boat like rocking and everybody killing it. And then he just jumps on the boat, and he's like, and everybody's like looking at him, and like he does a full solo, and then he stops like that, and then of course like, and then it pans back out, and then you see him diving in the water, and then you see like 100 guns just go like shooting at him in the water, and then it cuts back to reality, and he goes, yeah, it didn't go well.
What? You saw an alligator do a full number, and your first thing is to be like, we should probably shoot it.
We gotta shoot this fucking thing.
Yeah, we gotta shoot this thing.
This scene, no bullshit, cracked us all. Like me, Sam, and Trey.
Yeah.
Even all of us. Like hard. Like we all like it was one of those. It was like, God damn, that was really funny. This movie's good, dog. It sounds like corny kind of or get cheesy.
Well, all Disney movies are cheesy.
But
so
this is good. Once you get past that, and you just dive into it, like, yo, that's a good ass movie. You know? So he goes, he's telling them how he's like, we got to be on our way to the Louis Armstrong guy.
Right.
And he's like, I like the Louis Armstrong guy. And he's like, we have to break the spell. And he's like, what spell? And he tells him, he's like, we are humans. And then he goes, he's like, we are not frogs. And then the guy, the Louis character just laughs. He's like, ah! And he's like, no, I am Naveen, Prince of Nadonia. And this is Tiana, the waitress. And he leans in, he's like, do not kiss her. And then the gator whispers, he's like, oh, y'all got caught up with some voodoo. That's just like Mama Odie. That's what she does. And he's like, but you don't want to go over where she is. It's too dangerous. And then Nadine like convinces him to like, oh, he'd take us to Mama Odie because how they'll turn it back into human and how he can be human and then he can finally play with the big band. Right. And he was like, play with the big band? Oh, let's go. That's all it takes for him to convince him.
Right.
And then he starts singing his song about how, if he was a human, like, if I was a human being, I'd head to New Orleans, and how he
Well, you're halfway there, buddy.
Oh, yeah. He's like, and when I'm human, as I hope to be, I'm going to blow till the cows come home and everyone will bow down to me. And, like, everybody's like, he's just like, burr, 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 and it's just kind of like a jazz song. You know what I mean?
And it's called No Dicks as well.
Pretty much. And then the prince starts singing about how he wants to be a human again so he can go back to his playboy ways and being single and just being the man. And then and he wants to just have fun. And then Tiana slaps him and says, no, you're getting married and turn us back into a human. And then he's like, oh, okay. And then she starts singing about how she had to work hard for everything she's got and how she's going to keep working hard to get her restaurant. And when she's human, at least she's going to act like one unlike you jerks. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, why are you being mean to the Louis Armstrong guy?
Louis Armstrong's doing his thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they're singing this jam just down the river, down the river on the gator's stomach as he's blowing the trumpet, right? Very Jungle Book style. You know what I mean? So right then, Naveen kind of gets hungry. And he's like, he tries to start eating like flies, with his tongue, like that. And then Tiana laughs at him, but then as she's doing it, a fly comes by and then she does it like without, she's like, oh, and she covers her mouth. It's just natural. And then they're both trying to do it. And then as they both see one bug and they try to do it at the same time and their tongues get tied up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the gator's like, I'll help. And then you see his hands kind of go, and then it cuts back to him, and their tongues are completely like wrapped around each other,
right,
like completely,
yeah.
And then they're like, this isn't much better, and then he goes, well, you know what will help this? A sharp stick, and then he turns off and he runs off like into the forest, right? And then they keep arguing back and forth, and then you hear somebody go, well, look at here, and a lightning bug flies up, and he goes, let me shine some light on this shit, huh? I know you think, Deric, why are you talking like that? No, Ehsan. I'm doing an impression.
I know.
This fucking lightning bug.
Yeah, I know you're doing it. I was like, oh, wow, Deric just decided to turn up the racism meter up on this.
Deepest accent of all time.
Yeah.
And then the lightning bug fixes him, and he's like, that's a little better, yeah? Don't worry, baby. I don't explode. I ain't no firecracker. Just my blood glowing is all. Because he's a lightning bug.
Yeah.
And he keeps talking, as he unties him, right? And he goes, my name is Raymond, but you call me Ray, And he goes, I'm Cajun, born and bred in the bayou. Where y'all from? And then Naveen goes, we are from a place far from this world. And he goes, oh, wait. Y'all from Shreveport? And he goes, no, we are humans. And he's like, he tells him everything, and then he gets to like Mama Odie, and then the guy's like, Mama Odie is that way. And then he's like, why in the world y'all going this way? And then right then the gator comes back, and he's like, I got a stick, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, rules of the bayou, never take direction from a gator. So yeah, you have that now.
Gators are bad at directions.
They are actually.
Yeah. Everyone I ask doesn't say anything.
Yeah. I always ask a Seminole.
Why are you proud of yourself?
It's a Florida State joke.
Yeah, I get it. Oh, because the Florida Gators. Right. Actually, Seminoles, Indians are probably actually pretty good at directions.
Okay, go fuck yourself.
Well, you're the one who started it, fucking asshole. All proud of yourself. Fuck you. So no one was happy about that, by the way. When people listen to this, they'll be like, what the fuck is he talking about? And they'll be on my side.
They'll be on my side. So he goes, well, I'll take y'all there. He said, my relationals will help y'all find their way. His family.
Yeah.
That's what he calls them. Relationals.
That's funny.
And then all the lightning bugs like light up the entire bayou, right?
Right.
And he said, come on, y'all, just follow the flashing bus, y'all. And then he starts singing, we going down the bayou, going down the bayou. And it's that song. Like, and it's like, it's a cool like montage of all the lightning bugs doing cool shit.
While they're going down the bayou.
Yeah, going down the bayou. And they're all happy. It's a good, happy song. Right? Cuts back to Dr. Vasile, and he's praying to these voodoo masks on the wall, and he's asking for their help and how he wants to take down Big Daddy, you know, and how he wants to run this town and how he knows he can if the dark spirits help him find this frog.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then he was like, I'll own this town. He's like, and I will have all the souls of the people in this town, and they'll belong to you. Just help me find this frog. And then the voodoo masks look at each other, and they agree. Yeah. And then they give him like these 10 scary shadow figures on the wall, right?
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, and then he's like, search everywhere, you know, and he's like, and bring them to me alive, and then the shadows like disperse over the city, and you see them like going over everything over the city as they run out. It's pretty cool, you know? And so it cuts back to Ray, and he's saying bye to his family and thanks for the help, and then Tiana asks Ray if he has a girlfriend, and he's like, nah. Well, ask him if he's got a girl in like that was in like anywhere else.
Yeah, if the girl was part of the big dance number.
Yeah, big dance number. And then he goes, nah, just Evangeline. That's my only girl for me. And then they're like, he's like, but they're not together. He's like, we're not together, but I know in my heart one day we will be. You know, I think of her every
one
day.
Of those.
You know?
Yeah.
And then Naveen tells him like, well, you know, don't be locked down so fast, buddy. You know, take your time. And then she slaps him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So right then you see these 3 white heads pop up, these 3 like Southern guys. And then one of the guys says, I can taste them frog legs already. You know? Yeah. And then one, you see the bigger one and he goes, I bet they taste real good with sauce, Paul. Because it's like a dumb Three Stooges situation. Yeah. Like they're all retarded.
Yeah,
you know
okay,
what I mean?
Okay. So like Curry, Larry, and Moe.
Exactly. And Naveen and Tiana start arguing, right? And he's like, you know, you don't know how to have fun. And then and she's like, and you are a lazy nothing bump on a log. And then he's like, yeah. And he coughs, stick in the mud. And then she's like, yeah. Well, this stick in the mud worked 2 jobs while your lazy butt sat in an average tower doing nothing your whole life. You know what I mean? And then right then, they catch Naveen. Yeah. Like they grab him and they try to catch Tiana, but she like breaks one of them's thumbs with her feet. You know? That's crazy. Yeah. And then the Ray dude sees that they got Naveen, the lightning bug, and then he goes, oh no. Well, a bug's got to do what a bug's got to do. And he flies into the dude's nose, and you see the guy's like brain all lit up and shit as he's like fighting his brain. Yeah. And then he snots him out. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then Naveen's able to get away, but at the last second they catch Tiana, and then they put her in a cage on the boat, and then they're down the bayou. No. And Naveen's like, no, Tiana, and he swims after her, right? Yeah. And he uses his tongue to like stick on the boat. Where's the alligator at this point? Jet skiing. I forgot. The alligator fell into like prickly bushes immediately. So he's just stuck in that. Okay. Screaming. Okay. It's really funny, actually. I completely forgot about that. Yeah. It was like, why is the alligator helping? It's like, oh, that's right. Yeah, there's a fucking alligator there. He's just in prickly bushes. Okay. It's pretty funny. Okay. So, like, cause there's a point where he gets out, and then, like, right when he gets out to help, he falls right back in. That's funny. So, like, he's in the whole time. He's in the prickly bushes. This whole scene. Being useless. Wrong directions. And now he's an idiot. He's the complete comedy relief. Him and the lightning bug. Okay. So, I mean, Nadine's pretty funny as well. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. This is a pretty funny movie. Pretty funny. Way funnier than I thought it would be. Yeah. When I watched it this morning, I was like, this is way funnier than I remembered it being. Yeah. You know, like I was laughing out loud. So, like, he uses his tongue to, like, stick on the boat, and he's, like, jet skiing behind it, kind of. Yeah. And then he, like, slingshots his way up to it. Right. You know? And then he hits the back of it, like, and then you hear the big dumb one goes, Paul, did you hear a suspicious kind of thud? And he goes, I did. And then he takes his hat off, like, to scratch his head, and then the frog, Nadine's on his head. and then the other two like raise up like all stupid, and then the one grabs a big old stick, and then of course
this is Three exactly
Yep.
Three Stooges. Oh my god!
bonk,
Bonk.
and then like Nadine's jump, and then the big one just starts beating the shit out of both of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
they start like shooting each other, just dumb shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like just all they're just fucking hitting each other, and then finally the big one like knocks all of them out, like including himself.
That's funny.
Yeah, and he's got like his head on the ground, and then he goes, the one guy goes, "They ain't like no frogs I ever seen. They smart." And then Nadine goes, "And we talk too,"
Yeah.
And then they go, "Ah!" And then they all run away down the bayou.
Right.
Right?
Makes sense.
And then it shows Naveen and Naveen and Tiana, they're like warming up to each other now. Like they're laughing about what they just did.
Right.
And he's like, you're kind of funny. Not a total stick in the mud. And then right then Ray is picking like cactuses out of Lewis's butt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Solid joke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You've seen that. And
Yeah.
then Tiana says like, "Oh, I'm gonna cook you guys up something nice." And then Naveen says like, "Ooh, how?" He's like, "Oh, I'd love to eat some good dinner." And then he just kind of sits back with his feet up, and she goes, "No, and you're gonna help, Prince Boy." And then she throws a mushroom at him. It's like, "Start mincing that mushroom." And he's like, "Mincing mushroom? I don't know how to." And he's looking at it, and she's like, "Oh," and she comes over and she shows him how to do it really fast, right? And then he's like, "Wow," just like crazy impressed. And then he says, he talks about how he's like, my whole life, I've never done anything for myself. And it was a charmed life until my parents cut me off. He's like, and then one day I realized I don't know how to do anything.
Ooh, that's real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back, like right then it cuts to the shadows and they're hot on their tail.
Oh, shit.
You know what I mean? Like
And they have no idea the shadows are coming.
No, they don't know they're coming, but they're hot on their tail.
God, that's fucking scary as shit.
Yep. Cuts back to like Ray and he's the lightning bug. He's talking about Evangeline. And then everybody's like, "Man, I want to meet this girl. Like, where's this Evangeline you keep talking about?" And then he goes, "How can you miss her? She right there." And then they look up. It's the evening star. Like the sky that's been the whole movie. And he goes, "Look how she lights up the sky." And then he points up to her, and then he sings about how he's in love with her. He's like, "You're my queen of the night, so still and so bright." And he's like, "Someone as beautiful as she could love someone like me." He's like singing in a slow song, and everybody's kind of the Tiana and the Nadine are looking at each other, kind of getting lost in the song a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Naveen's like, "Hey," he's like, "You want to dance?" And then she's like, serious. She's like, "No, I don't dance." And he goes, "If I can mince, you can dance."
Ooh, good line.
Yeah, and then he picks her up, and then they start dancing, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes, and then you hear he's like, they're dancing like above and under the water. It's a really cool shot.
Right.
And then he's like, "Love is beautiful. Love is wonderful." And he's like, "How she lights up the sky. I love you, Evangeline." It's just, and it's a beautiful kind of shot. Very Little, God, you haven't seen Little Mermaid. I want to keep saying very mermaid-esque in this. Not saying it wasn't good, guys, but okay.
Wait, what was that?
What do you mean?
Not saying it wasn't good. What are you talking
It's
about?
a lot like Little Mermaid. You watch it, and it's like even flow,
Okay.
the villain, like everything. Like the situation, it's all
the same.
You'll see when we get to Little Mermaid.
Okay.
We'll get there, guys.
All right.
Relax. So they, he's singing, and then they like, right then he goes, you see like one of the shadows, like right, like he's about to kiss her, right? And then he stops, and then she goes, "I think we should be getting along." And then right then, one of the shadows grabs Nadine by the leg. And he's like, "Tiana!" Right? And they're all running after him. And then you see, like, one of the shadows, they got him, they're getting pretty far. And then you see 3 magic lightning bolts. Bam, bam, bam. And it kills all the shadows. Right? And then you see a big shadow coming up, and they're looking nervous. And then you hear somebody go, "Not bad for a 170-year-old lady." And an old lady, Mama Odie, walks out. And she's blind. It's an old blind lady.
Oh, damn.
Yep. So they start telling her all her problems, right? She takes them to her house, her voodoo house. She's a voodoo woman too.
Okay.
What's up?
They don't get away with the frog, do they? She kills them before they get away, or they got away with them?
No. She kills all 3 of them. So now they're back. They all go to Mama Odie's house, and she has like this pet snake that she uses as like a walker. It's pretty funny, like as a stick.
Yeah.
And she's clearly crazy, and they're telling her all her problems, and she's like, "Y'all want some candy?" And then they're like, "No." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And then she eats it. She's like, "That's funny. It would have made you human." And they're like, "What?" And she's like, "I'm just playing." And then she falls asleep. And they're like, "Mama Odie," and she wakes up. She's like, "Ah!" She's just like a crazy old lady.
Yeah.
And she's like, she's a scatterbrain. She's doing a bunch of shit. You know what I mean? And then she's like, how's this gumbo? She's making gumbo. And then Tiana tastes it. She says, two drops of Tabasco and it'll be perfect. And she does, and she's like, oh my Lord. And she freaks out about how good of a cook, like, oh man, you really know your food, baby, you know? And then they tell her, like, she's like, well, what do y'all want? Anything for because of that. And she's like, well, Mama Odie, we want to be human. That's what we want to be human. And she goes, y'all think y'all want to be human, but you're blind to what you need, you know? And she says, listen to Mama, don't matter what you look like. Don't matter how you feel. And it's one of those songs. Yeah. Don't matter something, baby, because love is what you is. Because whatever is right in front of your face. It's one of those songs about whatever it is, it's right in front of your face.
Yeah. And they're like, what are you talking about? As they look at each other.
And it don't matter what you look like. And it's one of those.
Yeah.
It's a good song. Actually, I like this song probably the best.
Okay. It's your favorite?
Yeah, actually, it's my favorite song.
Yeah. You see, this is the one you're most into.
Yeah. Don't matter who you are, you know? And she sings about how everyone like says what they need, but you gotta dig a little deeper. That's the main theory of the song. You gotta dig a little deeper. And it keeps singing. And then you like to find out what you need, because blue skies and sunshine guaranteed. And it keeps singing. It's like a big montage, like a church, like they're at church.
Right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then she's like, so she sings about how the one frog needs to start working for himself and like man up and settle down. And then how she needs to, like, she knows her father was a good man, but he also knew love, and she needs to find love and needs to know like having fun and being a person. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's the whole song. And then it ends and she goes, well, child, do you know what you need now? And she goes, yes, ma'am. I have to dig deeper, work harder to get my restaurant. And then everybody goes, oh God.
No, how did you miss it?
And then the gator tries, he's like, well, one more time. You got to dig a little deeper. And nobody sings with him. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Mama Odie's like, well, I'm still going to help you.
Yeah.
And she says she's like, all you got to do is get to Charlotte, Lottie, by midnight and get the prince to kiss her, and you'll turn back human and you'll be good to go.
Yeah.
And then the gator's like, what about me? I want to be in a band. And then she says, oh, don't worry about that, sweetie. You just dig a little deeper and you'll find what you need. So they leave Mama Odie. And then Louie's like, because they're like, oh, we got to get back. It's going to take a long way going down the bayou. And Louie's like, I know a faster way.
Yeah.
And then he takes him to the jazz boat that he loves.
Right?
So they get on it and they all hide. But he's too big and he can't.
Yeah.
So he's trying to hide and he can't. And then finally people walk by, but all the people are dressed up in costume. And like it's the members of the band. And then they see him and they're like, oh, that's a pretty sick gator costume, baby. And he's like, oh, thank you. And then they're like, hey, you got a trumpet. You blow, daddy-o? And he's like, do I blow? And they're like, oh, yeah. And then he starts walking with them. He's just like, and he's in heaven.
Oh my God.
You know, he gets exactly what he wanted. Right away.
Yeah.
And so Naveen goes off to, like, the next thing, Naveen goes off and he makes a wedding ring for Tiana.
Right.
And then he's looking at the evening star and he's practicing how he's going to give it to her, right? He's like, all right, I'm going to give it to her this way. And then he's saying, like, you know, I love you, blah, blah, blah. And then Ray runs up and he goes, you talking to my girl? And he starts fighting him, starts punching him in the face.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm practicing for Tiana. It's for Tiana. And then Ray's like, oh, I got to go tell her. And then he's like, no. And he's like, I was hoping I could do that. He's like, oh, that makes sense. So the next scene, the frog, he set up a nice dinner for Tiana, right? It's a really nice dinner for her. Mm-hmm. And then he goes, she brings her out and he's got like a big bow tie on. He looks really silly. And then she's like, oh my, no one's ever done anything for me like this my whole life. And then he starts to try to propose to her, but he starts babbling all over the words and he can't find them. And right when he's about to ask her, she goes, oh, there it is. And then they jump off to the side of like the boat they're on. And it's the restaurant that she's trying to buy.
Ooh.
And then he's like, oh, that's your restaurant that you've been talking about. And then she's like, yeah, you know, that's it. And then he goes, she's like, folks will be coming from all walks of life just to come get my food, or just come get our food.
Right.
And then he looks at her and he goes, our food? And she leans up on him. And then she looks back at him again. She goes, well, I mean, you know, by our, I mean me and my daddy. You know, me and my daddy always talked about having a restaurant. And then he goes, wow, I love you. He's like, no, he goes, I love. And she smiles. And he goes, the way you light up when you talk about your dream. And she's like,
so close, but
thank
so far.
you.
Yeah.
You know? And then he goes, I promise you, Tiana, I will do whatever I can to make sure your dream happens. And he's like, oh, thank you. And then he walks away kind of sad for not asking. And then she looks sad too. And then Tiana looks at the star and she's like, oh, please help, anything. And then they pan out as she's asking. And the prince has his mouth covered by one of the shadows. And then they take him off.
No.
He's gone.
No.
They got the prince.
Oh, God. Why?
I know.
Why?
So,
oh, God.
Yeah, they got the prince.
Okay.
So Lottie is talking to the fake prince, and she's trying to get him to come out of his room, right?
Right.
The fake prince to come out of his room.
Right. What's
Hold on.
going on? What happened?
I got to make sure I didn't.
Is there a very important scene that you skipped?
I don't think so. I think we're still good. Okay.
Okay. Oh, God.
Sometimes,
Oh, God.
guys, sometimes you don't know.
Yeah.
I gotta like, oh man, did I? No, we're good. We're on track.
Okay.
So
There's someone at home who loves this movie just screaming about something you've missed.
yes.
Yeah.
No, we did miss a scene.
What did we miss? Are your papers out of order? What happened? I'm gonna call. This is a penalty. I'm gonna call it a yellow card. This is.
This might be.
What? Oh, this is the first time this has happened.
This is the first time this has ever happened.
It was bound to. Well, we're like 20 something.
I don't know where it is.
Yeah, but
okay. So somewhere I skipped. Somewhere.
Yeah.
There's a scene where the assistant guy.
Yeah.
Is trying to propose to the Charlotte girl.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And as he does, he finds out like the vial is. This was before they sent the voodoo people on him.
Okay.
That's what before he sent. So right before that happened, the vial is running like he sees that the vial is like halfway full,
right? And
he starts as he's trying to propose to her. He starts Nutty Professor like turning back into the assistant, like a big ear, and a big lip, and a big butt. But she's not noticing because he's proposing, and she gets so excited.
Yeah.
So finally he gets it out, and then she runs off before he changes back to himself because she's so excited.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that happens.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So. Cut back.
All right.
So Lottie is trying to like get him, the fake prince, because he's still not himself yet. She's trying to get him to come back and like turn back to, come out of his room.
Yeah.
So it cuts back to Tiana. She's asking where Naveen is. She's like, where's Naveen? And then the Ray dude, he's like, I ain't saying nothing. My lips sealed tight. He told me not to say. And she's like, Ray, come on, tell me. And then he leaps in joy and he tells her everything.
Right.
He in love with you and he gonna propose. And that's what he said with the Evangeline. Like he's just like he can't hold it in, right?
Right.
And then she's like, oh, I knew it. I knew it, And then it shows it comes back and it shows the Charlotte like back then, like as she's about to bust in, it shows the voodoo, like the shadows coming back with the frog.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so now they're like, and they got him. So now they can turn him, the assistant, back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So he tells her where she is. So they're like, she's like, oh, that's why he wanted to marry me. Oh my goodness, that's why he was bubbling over his words. I gotta go find him. And then she's like, I know where he is. He's probably off trying to kiss Charlotte. So she's like running through the party to try and find him, she's like, look for the biggest float, Ray. That's where he'll be on. She's like, we'll see him. He'll be kissing Charlotte so he can come find me and kiss me. You know what I mean?
Right.
And she's looking. And then she sees him and it's Prince Nadine.
Okay.
She doesn't like, it's him.
It's the assistant.
Right?
Yeah.
And she's getting married on the big float.
Oh.
And she sees it and she's like, oh. And she looks all defeated. And then Ray is like, well, that can't be right. So this can't be right. There's something not right about this. And then she turns and she runs away. And he goes after her and he tries to pep her up. And he's like, it's like my Evangeline always say. And she's like, shut up, Ray. Evangeline is just a star. It's not real. And then she like goes off. And then he starts crying and he's like, she only speaking out a broken heart. She don't mean that. And he's like, we gonna show her the truth. And then he flies back and then he gets in the prince's ear and he's like, hey, what's going on? And then the British guy's like, and he hits him away and he realizes like, oh, that's not him.
Yeah.
And then he goes looking and then he finds the real prince.
Right.
And he's in like this little box.
Right.
Next to the on the floor next to the wedding.
Right.
And he's like, Nadine, how you get in there? And he's like, hey, they got, like, you gotta get me out of here. You gotta get me out of here. And he's like, okay. And so Ray, like it shows the like it's all happening really fast. Right. And it shows the prince and like they're getting married and the guy's going, like, and now I'll pronounce you. And then right then and it shows the voodoo guy and he's about to to kill the voodoo doll of the big daddy, like as he's waiting for them to kiss and get married so he can do it. And then right then he busts out, the frog busts out and he steals the necklace. Because Ray helps him bust out and he steals the necklace off his neck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then they're going, and then he grabs the frog so he doesn't turn all the way. And then they're going back and forth, and they bust off into they run off into a room.
So him and
the assistant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's arguing with the assistant, like, why are you doing this? Blah, blah, blah. And the assistant's telling him, like, I'm sick of you, and I'm sick of all the stuff you put me through. You know what I mean? They're going back and forth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what you get for treating someone like shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, what happens? Oh, yeah. So Ray runs in the room, and he grabs the necklace, right? And he takes off. Mm-hmm. And then, the shadows go after him, right? And the Dr. Facile guy, they're all going after him.
Right.
And then Ray flies into Tiana and he tells her what's going on. He's like, that wasn't Ray. It was the voodoo guy, blah, blah, blah. And then he gives her the necklace. He's like, no matter what, do not let the voodoo man get his hands on this. No matter what, right? And he's like, go, go. And she runs off. And then he turns around and all the shadows come up on him. And he's like, well, you know, don't make me light my butt. And he lights his butt up and he starts taking him out one by one with his light butt, like fighting him with his lit butt.
That's funny.
And then right then the Dr. Facile guy slaps him against the wall and he knocks him and Ray's looking up and he's looking down on him and then he squishes him. Oh, God. Squishes Ray.
So Ray's dead? Jesus.
Gets pretty intense.
Jesus.
Then Louis, the alligator comes, like they leave him and then Louis, the alligator comes up on him. He's like, oh, Ray. You know, and he picks him up, cuts back to Tiana, and she's getting cornered by the shadows now, right? Mm-hmm. And she goes, back up, or I'll break it into a million pieces. And then right then the Dr. Facile guy comes up and he blows dust on her. And then she spins, and she turns back into a human, and then everything around her turns into a restaurant and all the dreams that she's ever wanted, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes, I have to hand it to you, Tiana. You do dream big. And then he goes, all you have to do to make this real is hand me that necklace of mine, you know? And he goes, think of all the naysayers. And then he shows her past, and it shows all the people saying no in her life, and all the people saying she couldn't do it. And then he's like, look at your father, how hard he had to work for it. Don't you want to do it for him? And then it shows like things she didn't see, like her dad like busting his ass and like, you know, right before he comes home, like trying to like fix his back. You know what I mean? Like just shows how hard he was working.
Yeah.
You know? And she's looking at it and she's feeling bad. And then she goes, but he still was a great man. So tell me, he's like, you know, don't you want all this? And then she goes, you know, my daddy never got what he wanted, but he got what he needed, you know? Mm-hmm. And then she goes, he had love, and he never lost sight of that, and I will neither. And then she tries to break it, and she throws it down, and right then one of the shadow catches the vial last minute, right? And then they go, ha, 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 and he starts laughing, and he goes, you should have took my deal, girl, you know? And she goes, he's like, now you'll stay a slimy frog forever. And then she goes, it's not slime. It's mucus! And she sticks her tongue and she grabs the necklace back and she slams it down and it breaks. And then all the magic colors start flying around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he's like, no! You know? And then right then, you hear all the voodoo dolls, the evil ones, they come out, and then you hear them go, are you ready? Boom, 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 boom. Are you ready? And then it keeps going, are you ready? They get louder and louder, and he's like, no, please, I need more time. I can do this. Just give me more time. I can make it. I can make the deal. I can get the big daddy, please. And then the shadows grab him, and then they take him down into the depths of hell.
Oh, God.
Yeah, pretty intense.
Yeah.
Also, it's like a movie that we're gonna do later, and I know everyone's like, I know what movie that is. We're gonna get to that movie, guys. It's exactly like another movie.
Okay.
It's exactly. Like to the point where other movies are like, oh, that's exactly how this other movie ends. I know. Hey, I know, guys, but we can't say it because this fucking idiot doesn't see anything.
Okay.
So right then, Tiana looks
nuts.
up, and it's almost midnight, right?
Yeah.
So she runs off, and then Lottie finally busts into the room, and then she sees the assistant, who's the assistant now. She screams, and then he screams because she's like, she knows who he is, and then he runs out, right?
Yeah.
And then the real Prince Naveen comes up, and he's like, allow me to introduce myself. I am the real Prince Naveen, and then she smashes him with a book. And he's in the same pose. He's like, look at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so outside, Big Daddy throws the assistant guy in jail.
Right.
And Naveen breaks it all down to Lottie. Mm-hmm. And he tells her, like, and she goes, okay, so you telling me if we get kissed and we get married, we'll be happily ever after? Me and you? And then he goes, yes, more or less. He said, but most importantly, Tiana gets her restaurant. You must promise me that Tiana will get her drink. And then she's like, okay, I don't mind. And then he goes, for she is my Evangeline. And she says, well, I don't care. Buck her up. She's like, pucker up, buttercup. And then she goes in to kiss him. And then right as they start to kiss, Tiana goes, wait. She's like, don't. And then he looks at her and goes, but Tiana, it's your dream. This is the only way you can get your restaurant. And she goes, my dream wouldn't be complete without you.
Ooh.
And he goes,
Disney.
she goes, I love you. And he goes, warts and all. Warts and all. And then they kiss. And then Lottie's crying. And she goes, all my life, I read about true love and fairy tales. She like, and I'm so happy to finally see my best friend Tiana have it. And she goes, I'll kiss Naveen. No marriage needed. She's like, no marriage required. You guys belong together. And then right then the clock strikes midnight, right? Yeah. And then she goes, oh no. And she kisses him. And then nothing happens.
Oh, no.
And then she kisses him 100 times. And then nothing happens. And she goes, oh no. I'm so sorry, guys. Right?
Yeah.
And then Louise runs up. And he goes, he's all sad. And he goes, Shadow Man done laid poor Ray low. That's what he says.
I didn't know. I also had no idea there was like a midnight time frame on this.
Yeah, there was. Oh,
okay.
the Mama Odie says that they have until midnight to get this done.
Okay.
So,
well, thanks for that information.
I think I said it. I did say it, but it was during all the song, so it was kind of hard to. It might have got jumbled in between all that.
Okay.
So, he lays Ray down. And he goes, Ray's hurting bad, and then Ray looks up and he goes, how come y'all still frogs? And then she goes, we stayed frogs, Ray, and we stayed together. And then he goes, I like that. Evangeline liked that too. And then he dies, and his lightning bug, like his light, fades out. And then it starts raining, and then it shows them all crying, and it fades to black. So the next scene.
Oh my God.
They're all drifting down the bayou, right?
Yeah.
And all the light bugs, like they lay them like on a leaf, like a funeral by a river.
Yeah.
You know, as lightning bugs do.
Yeah, you know, I've met a couple lightning bugs in my time.
And then they push him off. And then as they push him off, like he fades, like the leaf fades off into the distance. And then they're all crying. And then the sky parts, like the clouds, and they look up. And then they see the evening star, and then another evening star lights up. And then everybody starts celebrating and dancing.
Yeah, he got it.
You know what I mean?
He got it. He got the girl. He got the girl he wanted.
They got the girl, man. And
yeah.
Then you hear Mama Odie go, so by the power invested in me, I now pronounce y'all frog and wife, you know? And then they have a big ceremony in the jungle, and everybody's like, you know, dancing and like laughing, and then they kiss. And then as they kiss, magic lights start spinning and going everywhere, and everything starts going crazy. And then they turn back into humans.
Huh.
And then she goes, I told y'all. Kissing a prince breaks the spell. No, kissing a princess breaks the spell. And then she goes, he goes, oh, once you became my wife. And then she goes, oh, you just kissed yourself a princess. And he goes, and I'm about to do it again. And then they kiss. And then they kiss again.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back to them having like a big human wedding, like in the ceremony with Big Daddy and
regular
friends.
human wedding. Yeah.
And then cuts back to them, like they go to the restaurant owners, and then she gives all the money, and then it's Louis, the big alligator, standing next to him like that, and then they're like scared, and they agree.
Yeah.
And then it shows her like fixing the restaurant up, and then it turns into a dream restaurant, and it shows like Louis playing like the trumpet for the band in the house band for the restaurant.
That's amazing. That's
everybody's cool with it.
Yeah,
you know?
Which you should be.
Oh yeah, and then it starts singing, in the Southland there's a city down by the river. You know, like way down by the river. We got music, it's always playing. Everyone's always dancing. You know, and everybody's like dancing and just singing. And she's got on the outfit that she had, like the fancy outfit that she always wanted. You know?
Yeah.
And it cuts to Naveen's it cuts to Charlotte, and she's dancing with somebody, and she's like, so you're Naveen's younger brother, huh? Well, how old are you? And then it cuts to like the camera, and it's like, he goes, I'm 6.5. And then she goes, well, I waited this long, honey.
Oh, God.
They keep dancing.
Oh, God. Again, yellow card. Jesus Christ.
Dreams do come true in New Orleans. The Princess and the Frog.
Wait, what?
Ending on a pedophile joke, baby. Signs of a good movie.
What is it?
That's Princess and the Frog, everybody.
Oh, I was on board for all of that until the very end. I was like, I don't know if I'm on board for this anymore.
Trey freaked out.
Yeah.
He freaked the fuck out of
He's
that
like,
last joke.
What?
Man.
It's very funny. The first black princess got to be not black for all of it, but that's, we're making progress, Hollywood.
We're trying,
making progress. All right.
Spoil the beans.
Hey, later, guys.